Chapter 5, Lesson 3 is compare and order integers. So yesterday we talked about integers, and we know those are all of the positive numbers, all of their opposites, and 0. Those are all of the integers. So here, number 1 says Veronica V was 12 minutes early to class. Deshawn was right on time, and Candace was 3 minutes late. Which timeline represents the student's arrival to class? So when we look at this, Deshawn was right on time, right? So if he was right on time, if we're thinking about a warm-up, if we're thinking about a number line, Deshawn would be right at 0, right? Because he's right on time. So here's the number line. If he's right on time, 0 is right on time. If we have anything before right on time, that would be early, right? So if it's before right on time, that's early. Before Deshawn, before 0, that would be negative numbers. Very good. And then late, that's going to be after right on time. Those are going to be positive numbers. Does everybody understand how that correlates to the number line? Okay, so here, if Deshawn was right on time, he's 0. So if I look at all of these number lines, Deshawn here is not on 0, not on 0, on 0, on 0. So it's got to be one of those two, right? Now, we're looking at Veronica V, which is 12 minutes early to class. So would that be a positive 12 or a negative 12? Negative. That would be a negative 12 because it would be before 0, right? So here is the negative 12, and of course, Candace was 3 minutes late, so she's after 0. So this is your choice. Number 2, it says the table shows the scores at the end of a game of miniature golf. The integer 0 represents par. That means they're breaking even, okay? Sort the players from fewest shots taken to most shots taken. Now remember, fewest shots taken would be to the very left on the number line, correct? Okay, so which one comes first? Negative 6, and then negative 3, and then 2 and 5. All right, so this is your results. All right, so now we are going to compare integers. Now, to compare integers, you can compare the signs as well as the magnitude or size of the number. The greater numbers are graphed farther to the right on the number line. So the smaller numbers to the left. Does everybody understand that? Yeah. Okay. Now, when it talks about the magnitude, they're talking about the size of the number, okay? Now, here, when we look at comparing numbers on the number line, we're looking at negative 3 and 2. Negative 3 and 2. Well, here, all you have to do is look at the signs, right? One's positive, one's negative. So, which one would be the bigger number? The positive one, right? Positive numbers are always greater than the negative numbers. Got it? So here, 2 is greater than negative 3. Okay? Now, if I look at over here, now pay attention to this. Here, we're looking at negative 3 and negative 2. Negative 3 and negative 2. They are both negative this time, right? They're both negative. But which one is farther to the left? Negative 3. Negative 3 is farther to the left, so that means that negative 3 is less than negative 2. Is everybody clear with that? Now, notice the numbers. 3, 2. Not the signs, just the numbers. 3, 2. Well, I just said that negative 3 is less than negative 2, right? But 3 is bigger than 2, right? Well, this brings us to a rule that I like to say. The bigger the number, the smaller the value. when they're both negative. Is everybody clear? Let's write that down. Here we want to fill in the circle, fill in the blank with a less than, a greater than, or an equal to. Now before we do that, I want to just make a little stop here and teach you how to read this symbol. Okay, see this symbol right here? When we read our books, we read from left to right, right? When we read our symbols, we read from left to right. So if you look at this line, we're going to go from left to right, and we're going to notice what side of that symbol does it touch first, the big side or the little side? It touches the little side, right? So that is a less than. Is everybody clear? Now, here, when I go from left to right, okay, I'm going from left to right, does it touch the big side or the little side first? Touches the big side first. So that is a greater than. Is everybody clear? All right. So now, because you're going to need to be able to say what symbol needs to go in the circle. Okay. So here we want to graph. We want to compare 12 and negative 4. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at it on a number line. So negative 4 is way over here. Positive 12 is way over there. Okay. You can see negative 4 is further to the left on the number line, right? So you know it's going to be less than. So negative 4 is less than 12. What am I going to write? Which symbol am I going to put in the circle here? We're going to put greater than, because 4 is less than negative 4 is less than 12, but 12 is greater than negative 4. You see that? And of course, we didn't have to put it on a number line, right? Because all we had to do was look at the signs. One is positive and one is negative. So the positive one is going to be the greater value. Is everybody clear? All right. Very good. Now I've got it problems. Problem A, we have negative 3 comparing to negative 5. Now, when we compare negative 3 to negative 5, they're both negative. So what is the rule? The bigger the number, the smaller the value. So what symbol do I need to put in here? Greater than. Greater than. Because here, 5 is a bigger number than 3, right? So that means that 5 is less than 3. So negative 3 is greater than negative 5. You got it? So here, for example B, for problem B, we have negative 5 and 0. Well, 0 is right in the middle of the number line, right? And then to the left is all of the negatives, right? So if you have any negative and comparing it to 0, what am I going to put in here? Less than, because negatives are always less than 0. Is everybody clear? Okay? If we had positive number over there, and then of course that would be greater than, right? So here, let's take a look at negative 6 compared to negative 1. What symbol goes in there? Greater than. And of course, we don't have to look at a number line. We don't have to think too much on this one, because 1 is positive and 1 is negative. And the positive is always greater than the negative. So as a matter of fact, I want you to write this point down, okay? Positive numbers are greater than negative numbers. That's pretty obvious, but you never know. Let's put it in our notes, okay? So for example 2, it says, Justin has a score of negative 4 on the Trueville trivia game. Desiree's score is negative 5. Write an inequality that compare the scores, okay? So here, we're going to look at negative 4 and negative 5. When we compare them, you can see that negative 4 is greater than negative 5, because here, the bigger the number, the smaller the value, right? So that's going to be a greater than in there. So since negative 4 is greater than negative 5, Justin has a higher score than Desiree. Is everybody clear with that? So let's look at our got it number, letter D. Here, and you can just write down the important information. The temperature on Tuesday was 2 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature on Wednesday was negative 2 degrees Fahrenheit. We want to write an inequality to compare the temperatures, and then we want to explain its meaning. All right, so here we are going to compare 2 to negative 2. We're going to compare 2 to negative 2, right? Well, one's positive and one's negative. What symbol goes in here? Greater than. Very good. So now it says to explain the meaning of the inequality. Well, these numbers, they represent what? They represent temperatures, right? They represent temperatures. So the meaning of this inequality says that on Tuesday, how was the weather compared to Wednesday? The temperature was higher, right? So even though not that much higher, the temperature on Tuesday was warmer than the temperature on Wednesday. Is everybody clear with that? Let's write that down. So here's what we're writing. The temperature on Tuesday was warmer than the temperature on Wednesday. So here we are going to order integers. We're going to order integers, and that doesn't mean, yes, may I have a 4 and a 5, please? No, that's not what that means. That means you're going to put them in order from least to greatest or greatest to least, okay? So here you can use a number line in order to order a set of integers. Integers can be ordered from least to greatest or from greatest to least. If we're looking at a number line and we're going from least to greatest, then we're going to look at the number line from left to right. Is everybody with me on that? If I am looking at the number line and I'm putting the integers in order from greatest to least, then I'm going to look from right to left. Is everybody clear with that? All right. So here we want to use this number line to order this set, and this is set notation. You see those squiggly brackets right there? That's set notation, so you need to learn how to make those. So we have -9, 6, -3, and 0 from least to greatest. So the first thing I need to do is I need to put these on a number line, right? So we've got a -9 right here. We've got a 6 way over there. We've got a -3 right here, and 0 right there. And of course, if we're going from least to greatest, we are going to read the number line from left to right. You with me? So that's -9, -3, 0, and 6. Okay? Now, another way you can look at this is that you can just say, okay, well, we know that the negatives are less than the positives, right? So if we can just compare the negatives, here are the negatives. There's a -9 and a -3. We can just compare the negatives. Which one goes first? The -9, because remember, the bigger the number, the smaller the value, right? And if we're going from least to greatest, -9 goes first. You see that? So we have -9, and then we have -3. The bigger the number, the smaller the value, right? And then, now it's just like what you normally do. You just look at those, there's a 6 and a 0. So now which one comes next? Comparing 6 and 0. Which one is smaller, 6 or 0? 0. So then you've got your 0, and now you've got 6. Is everybody clear? So here we're going to order the set -4, 3, 11, and -25 from greatest to least. So here is the number line, okay? So let's put the numbers on the number line for this one, and then we'll use method 2 for the next one. So here we've got -4, which is about right there. There's -4. Then we've got +3, That right there. Then we've got 11 right there. And negative 25 way out there. So now we want to put these in order from greatest to least. From greatest to least. So which way are we going to read this number line? We're going from greatest to least. And remember, on the number line, the greater numbers are further to the right. So we're going to read this from right to left. So here we've got 11, 3, negative 4, and negative 25. So this is greatest to least. Is everybody clear with that? All right. Good. All right, so the next one we're going to use, rather than using a number line, well, maybe we can use a number line to check it, okay? Rather than using a number line, I would like to compare positives and negatives, okay? So first thing I want to do is I want to compare all of the negatives, and then we'll compare all of the positives. So here we've got 18 and negative 6. Keeping in mind we're going from least to greatest, okay? Now the reason I chose to do the negatives first is because we're starting with the least. If I were going from greatest to least, I would compare the positives first, right? Is everybody with me? All right. So here, which one is the smallest between negative 18 and negative 6? Very good. So we've got negative 18 and negative 6. And now we'll compare all of the positives. So we're still going from least to greatest. So what's the smallest of the positives? 3. And then comes 12, and then comes 30. Very good. And then close your brackets. Now, on the number line, when we put this on the number line, we've got a negative 18 right there. We've got a positive 30 over there. We've got a 12, a negative 6, and a 3 right in the middle. So that's going to be a 3 right there. So when we're going from least to greatest, we're going to read this from which direction? Least to greatest. From left to right. Very good. So we've got negative 18, good, negative 6, 3, 12, and 30. So example 4 says the table shows the lowest elevation for several continents. Order the elevations from least to greatest. So here they graphed it on a number line. Okay? We have all negative numbers. Okay? So you can graph them on a number line, or you can just say all negative numbers. The rule is the bigger the number, the smaller the value, right? So which one's the biggest number? $418, right? So that's the smallest. You with me? What's the next biggest number? 156. So that is the next one, going from least to greatest. Then comes 105 elevation, and then North America, very good, at negative 86, and at 28, negative 28, and Australia at negative 12. So those are the elevations from least to greatest. Is everybody clear? All right. If you're looking at the number line, you're reading it from left to right because it's least to greatest.